Hey, tapping in like the math industry, and it's June 28th, which means it's Tau Day! In this video, we are going to explain what tau is, and we're also going to explain tau versus pi. Tau is spelled T-A-U, and it is 6.28. That's what it represents. And today is June 28th, the 6th month of the 28th day. And pi is the usual 3.14. What we're going to be doing is explain why tau is a more accurate number than pi in geometry. When we are doing geometry, we see a lot of pi. But there is a proof that tau is actually more accurate than pi. We're going to be using the circumference of a circle to demonstrate why tau makes the math easier to understand and why it's more accurate. When we are working with circles, how do we get pi and how do we get tau in the first place? Many people ask why the formula of a circle is pi r squared, and people ask why does it have to be pi? Because pi is going to equal the circumference, divide that by the diameter. When you do that and that, you will get an answer that will be rounded to pi, or 3.14. The circumference is going to be what we're going to be using to find what pi is and how does it work with circles. So the circumference formula is 2 pi r. With 2 pi r, that means we multiply 2 times pi, then we multiply by the radius. But that is when tau wants to budge in and come along. Tau is actually the same thing as 2 times pi, and it wants to change this formula. But tau is actually more accurate than you think, because when you're doing pi and 2 times pi times r, that means you are working with the diameter. So the circumference is also going to be the same thing as pi times the diameter. That is another way we can calculate the circumference. Remember, the circumference is what's around the circle.
Not half bad.
If I aim for the center, this one's mine! Nice! He broke through death circle!
There you go!
Alright!
So the reason why pi came up in the first place is because pi is actually the diameter, like this. So this black line is the diameter, and it's something that we can spin using Tinkercad to understand what's going to happen. So, the official way for finding the circumference is 2 pi r, and the reason why there's a 2 there is because there's a diameter in the circle as well. The diameter stretches from this point of the circle to that point of the circle, and the reason why there's a 2 in pi is because it has to take 2 rotations to get from here all the way around one lap to make one whole rotation. So here's an example. Pi is only half of the circle, so it has to make a pit stop. That's just pi, but 2 pi is going to be the whole thing. If we make one more turn, it'll go back to where it was. Green with green, and red with red. That is one whole rotation when we do 2 pi r to find the circumference. This does bring us to understanding why it's 2 pi r, but there's an actual easier way, and there's actually a reason why tau is more accurate than pi. And number 3, we barely use the diameter in geometry. We barely use it for something. We usually use the radius, like r squared in the area. So, with tau, when we do the circumference, divide by the radius instead, we're going to get an answer as tau, or 6.28. We use the radius in a lot of things that have to do with circles and geometry. So, since the formula for the circumference was 2 pi r, earlier we said that 2 pi is the same thing as tau because 3.14 multiplied by 2 is going to be 6.28. Since pi or 3.14 is half of tau, which is 6.28, it means that it can be the whole circle. And since we're dividing by the radius to get tau, that means the radius can actually move freely and complete one lap of the circle without any pit stops. So what we're going to have to do is get rid of that, shrink the line so it turns into the radius, get rid of pi, replace it with tau, and boom! We have our new spinner. So when we highlight it, it can show us that the radius can move freely around and around and around in one lap without any pit stops. This is one example why tau is more accurate than pi, and there are many other proofs and examples why tau can be more accurate, but this is the simple one because many of the other proofs can be used with calculus and higher level math. This is just the basic proof of understanding. Which do you prefer to be in geometry? Would you rather work with pi or would you rather work with tau? On Tau Day, many people like to bake 2 pies instead of 1 because tau is actually double the size of pi. Thank you for watching Tau Penalized Math Industry. Like and subscribe, and happy Tau Day! To end the video, let's see the radius perform music to the beat.